Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the SH Figuarts The Batman. And this was sent to me as a review sample, and I want to keep saying from Bluefin, but it's not Bluefin anymore, it's Bandai Namco, who own... I don't think Bluefin's a thing at all. Is it even a thing at all? I don't think it is. I think Bluefin's just gone completely. I think it's just Bandai Namco. Anyway, they sent me a review sample, because otherwise, I weren't going to review it. I thought this movie was awful. That's going to be the question of the day. What did you guys think about this movie? I know a lot of people loved it. Best movie since sliced bread. And a lot of people hated it. Most boring superhero movie or regular movie ever. It was bad. And I'm going to go with those people. I thought this was horrible. Maybe it would have been okay if they didn't have to come off the heels of Ben Affleck playing the best Batman ever. But they did. And I found this, it was like primetime TV cop show detective stuff, the worst writing ever, and I couldn't get behind this Batman. I think he's the worst casting for Batman since Christian Bale. So, a lot to talk about here, so let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, this guy stands, not counting his ear tips, just about 16 centimeters. That's going to make him very close to 6 1/4 inches. You might get 6 3/8 out of it, depending on how you have him adjusted. He is almost exactly the same height as Darwin, so you could say he is exactly 1 Darwin tall. And I think that's a good unit of measurement for most things. I think the head sculpt is actually pretty decent. It looks pretty accurate to the source material, if maybe it's missing a few details, but still, it's good. The sculpt is seemingly accurate. The paint job could be a little cleaner around the bottom of the cowl, but it looks decent. The eyes are alright. Detail work in the suit is okay. It's not the sharpest sculpt we've seen in some places, but it's good enough. It'll be fine. The paintwork is good where there is some paintwork, so no problem there. The utility belt is chock full of utility things, so that's fine. And the knees look goofy as hell, like really goofy bad. Hate that. And then the feet look okay, so it's alright. We do have a plastic cowl up here, which looks good from the front, but from the back it looks bad because the cloth they used is not a great cloth. It's fairly thin. I mean, I know I have harsh lighting on it, but still, it's fairly thin, and it doesn't at all match this. Like, they could have at least done a pleather, something to match that. It looks bad, if you ask me. I don't like this cape at all, and I honestly don't like the look of the figure too much. Proportioning's a little bit weird because these are supposed to be somewhat akin to like tactical cargo style pants, and that would be fine with a looser crotch, but since the way they sculpted it, they look very tight. The crotch is way too low. If you make a fist and put your hand down, your crotch should not be below your fist. Or maybe I'm just... Anyway, the proportioning is a little bit weird. He's a little bit noodly, his arms are super thin, his legs are super thin, and it's just weird looking to me. I'm not a fan of the way this looks at all. I do like how broad the shoulders are, but everything else looks super noodly. So, I'm going to give the aesthetics, assuming it's accurate, I'll give the aesthetics a 7. If it's inaccurate, a 6. I'm not thrilled with this. Plus, the front of the figure does it. I don't think that's paint job, because it's not everywhere. Like, you see those little... It looks like grime. I don't think that's a paint job. I think that's just bad QC, because it's not really on the chest, and it's not on the arms. It's nowhere. It's just on the abdomen, really. So, I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, I just looked at it up close, and it looks like it's just bad QC, frankly, so don't care for that. If it was everywhere, I could live with it, but it's just right here, so don't like that. Alright, as far as accessories go, we do have the alternate head with the guy from Twilight. Worst casting ever. Oh, terrible. But it's a decent enough likeness with a decent enough paint job. It could be better, of course, but that's perfectly acceptable for a mass-produced figure. No problem there. We have an alternate chest piece that has the Batarang removed from the chest, and of course we do have the Batarang. It's pretty well detailed. It's fine, I guess. We get his super fancy handcuffs. Those look weird to me. Like, they look really cartoonish. I don't know, but we get those. You get a little adrenaline pen, which was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a movie. And then you get his little grapnel guns that pop off of his wrists. So that's kind of cool. I like that. And as far as hands go, you just get a whole bunch. A couple different sets of gripping hands, some style pose hands and fists, of course. So everything you really need. I think that's a good spread of accessories. Not sure what else you could use. So I will say 9 out of 10. It's good accessories, can't complain. All right, let's do the articulation. This is going to upset a few of you, I think, if you wanted to buy the figure. He can't look up at all. Like, he can, but you have to kind of wedge it, and then it's only that much still. So that's limited. Looking down, he can't look down. That's what happens. When you try to make him look down, the neck just pops off. So that is a bummer. Leaning his head side to side, very limited, because they decided to use the world's hardest plastic for the cowl that didn't even need to be there in the first place. It could have just been cloth. Like, just make it cloth. Make the neck part plastic if you really want to, and then let that part move. This should have been cloth. This is not, you can't pose him barely. You can barely even turn his head. It's gonna be enough for slight posing, but it's a Michael Keaton situation where he just can't turn his head. That's super lame. And because of the plastic, you can't raise his arms farther than that out to the side. He has big shoulder pads and a plastic cowl holding everything in place. Ridiculously limited range on that shoulder. Bringing the arm forward, that shoulder pad gets in the way again. You can do it enough, I guess, but it's ridiculously limited. It's so limited. There's a butterfly joint in there, by the way, but you can't use it because nothing can move underneath this hard plastic cowl with these giant shoulder pads, and they're articulated, but you can't do anything with it. Yeah, I can pop the cowl off and show you what they do, but what's the point if his cape isn't going to be on? So it doesn't work. Bicep swivel is fine. We have a single jointed ball hinge elbow, slightly better than 90 degrees. You'll get more rotation out of that if you want it. Wrists are on little tiny ball hinges, that's fine. Torso articulation, can't lean back. I mean, that's it. Doesn't lean back any farther than that. I guess if you really force it and create gaps, you can. But I had to really push on that just now. I don't know if you could hear it snapping. Leaning forward, it's okay. Like, I was going to be okay with this figure, even though I didn't like the movie. It's an okay year one Batman design. I was going to be like, alright, I could definitely get into having a figure of it, even if the movie sucked. But the figure is just blah. It's so blah. Leaning side to side, you have to really force it over, and then it creates a gap. It has such limited range for no reason. Like, there's nothing going on here that should make him have such a limited range. It should be so posable. It's just a bare torso, basically. Very, very unfortunate. For the hips, they go almost horizontal forward and all the way back, so that's good. Going out to the side, no problem. This side, this moves out of the way. So you should have almost the same range, except for this being here. But yeah, it's decent. A thigh swivel happens all the way down here, so you get that. Ugly, ugly knee joint. Oh boy. That is an ugly... Why are their Batman figures always not so good? Why is that a thing? I wonder what's up with that. Proportioning's decent for the legs, though. You can see that. That's good. Lengthwise. Then the ankles are on ball pegs. So it's a very limited ball peg, too. There's very little range to use that ball peg. And then the toe hinge is too far back and really loose. This is not a well-engineered figure. I don't know what happened. Bandai makes really good articulation on their Kamen Rider figures, and Batman might as well be a Kamen Rider. I mean, in terms of suit design and everything, there's nothing special here. He should be able to pose, and he can't. Articulation gets a 5 out of 10 on this release. It's bad. And now it's time for the final verdict. I wanted to like this despite not liking the movie, because I was figured Batman's Batman, it's my favorite character, might as well. But I can't. It's just not good. Oh, I'm not even done. I forgot about the cape. The cape is wired, but it's not connected. So you see this? You see a big hunk of plastic sticking out of the bottom of the top of the cape that has this pinched in, but the wire is not connected to it, so that when you want to use the wire to hold things up, you can't. It's just a floppy wired cape. So you can bend it like this if you want the bottom to like flip up in the wind or something, sure. That's better than nothing, but it's not connected and it's hideous. Having that extra chunk of plastic in there is ridiculous. It looks terrible. It impedes articulation, and they didn't even connect the wire. It's bad. This whole figure is just one rush job after another, it seems like, or they just didn't care. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but this does not have any sort of soul to it at all. It doesn't have any sort of... It doesn't feel like whoever was designing it cared at all about Batman. It feels to me like they didn't like it and just wanted to get it done and made it passable. And that's what it is. It's just barely good enough, if you ask me. If you loved the movie get it, you'll probably be able to justify the price and justify owning it, but it's really not a good release. I'm going to give it a final verdict of a generous 6 out of 10. It's not good. I can't think of one thing about it that is actually impressive to me for Bandai. If this was a $20 figure, obviously we'd be having a different conversation, but it's not. It's just not good. So you guys can let me know what you think about this in the comment section below, but now you know what I think. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.